Hi, I'm Corey from IDParts.com. Today, we are going to bleed and replace the brake fluid on a Mark IV TDI. This procedure will remove air from the brake system and ensure that your brake calipers work at peak efficiency. And it'll also improve your brake pedal feel. This is a regular maintenance item on all TDIs, all Volkswagens, and really all cars, and should be done once every 2 years. The tools you'll be needing for this are the following. 1, a motivepower bleeder. Second, an 11mm socket wrench to unscrew each of the bleed valves. And we'll be using 1.5 liters of DOT4 approved brake fluid. 1.5 liters will cover a complete flush. We'll start this job by unscrewing the top of the motivepower bleeder and pouring in the 3 half-liter bottles of brake fluid that we bought. This is what makes the motivepower bleeder so convenient. By pouring the brake fluid directly in the power bleeder itself, we won't have to stop and top off the brake fluid reservoir as we complete this bleed. By adding all 3 bottles, we can probably complete the entire bleed, all 4 calipers and the clutch line, without disconnecting or depressurizing the system once. With the 3 bottles in, we're ready to go. We'll need to start by connecting the motivepower bleeder to the brake fluid reservoir itself. The fluid reservoir is located right behind the mass airflow sensor. We'll unscrew that yellow top, put the top to the side, and screw on the motivepower bleeder. With that in place, we can start pumping the power bleeder. You don't want to pump it too much. The suggested limit is about 9 psi on that gauge there. Any more, you may break a seal in one of the non-pressurized area of the system. With it pressurized, we can move to the caliper. We're going to start from the rear passenger side caliper, the farthest away from the reservoir. Before attaching the hose, remember to attach your 11mm wrench to the bleed screw. Once the 11mm wrench is in place, we'll attach our bleed hose, and we'll hook that up to our catch can, our little reservoir bottle here. And with the bottle in place, we'll loosen the bleeder screw slowly and watch as the fluid starts slowly coming out of the caliper. We'll keep unscrewing it to accelerate the flow of the fluid a little bit, but we don't want to take the screw all the way out. This bleed procedure will be the same for all the other calipers too. Remember to attach your 11mm wrench first before attaching the hose. Loosen the bleeder screw slowly until you get a little bit of fluid out, and then loosen a little bit more to increase the flow, but never remove the bleeder screw. What you'll notice if you use a clear tube is that the fluid will start out kind of grimy. You may see some debris in the tube. If you're using a different color fluid, you'll see the color change. As brake fluid ages, it tends to collect junk and it'll turn more brownish color. So you'll slowly see the brownish fluid being replaced by clear yellow fluid. Let the system bleed until only yellow fluid is left in the system, and then we'll go ahead and start tightening things back up. Anyway, here we are back at the passenger rear caliper. Our little catch can there is pretty full of dirty fluid, and the fluid coming out of the line is pretty much just pure golden color. It's very clean, so this caliper is ready to be tightened back up. We'll tighten the bleed screw carefully. We don't want to over tighten it. It can easily break, but we do want to stop the flow of brake fluid from coming out. After this is tight, we'll take the hose off and we'll pop that little rubber cap back on to be sure dirt and debris don't get in the bleeder screw in the future. As you're bleeding the calipers, you want to keep an eye on the motivepower bleeder itself. You want to check first the pressure gauge and second the level. The pressure gauge, try to keep that around 9 or 10 psi and try to keep the level high. If the pressure gauge drops lower, pump it up, but again, try not to exceed 10 psi, that way you don't damage anything. If the power bleeder is close to empty, stop immediately and refill it before continuing bleeding your brakes. Once we're done with our brake bleed, we're ready to disconnect the motivepower bleeder. We'll want to disconnect it at the brake reservoir end first. Once we remove that cap, the pressure will release and all the fluid that's in the line will return back to the reservoir itself. With that out of the way, we'll reattach the top to the brake fluid reservoir. We'll double check our brake pedal before going anywhere, just to be sure everything's assembled properly. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, email us, sales@idparts.com, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Thanks again.